Hello and welcome. I just felt that I had to make another quick video. I've made a couple in the last few days and a hive of activity I seem to be for some reason. But something happened on social media which I felt that I really needed to discuss and put out there, because it highlighted something, how dark the situation has become. Essentially, I discovered, I was looking at a tweet by one of the people I follow on social media, and it was regarding the recent advert that the NHS has put out, I think, or some, I think it's the government, or I don't know who exactly it is, but I think it's to do with the Lenny Henry thing. I don't know who's behind that, the government or the NHS. But I went on, and the NHS UK were copied into it. Maybe the NHS UK had tweeted it. But when I went to look for the link to see this video, and I've seen clips of it already, I discovered I was blocked by NHS UK. And I thought, because I remember a while ago, I called out the NHS UK on their Twitter account for putting out disinformation, and I'll leave a link for the tweets. There was a couple, but essentially, what the NHS UK were saying was that the vaccines for COVID-19 had followed the same procedure for the development of other medicines regarding safety and ethics, etc. And people like Matt Hancock reiterated such things in Parliament as well. Even when he was asked questions by other MPs, he assured them that this had been the case. But this is not the case. Not the case at all. So in a few tweets, I basically reiterated the same thing in several tweets to them, and I reported their account to Twitter for putting out disinformation. Essentially, I said that the vaccines had not went through the same procedure, and I put a clip from a Photoshop from the ethics papers from the Oxford vaccine trial, which I obtained, which essentially it said, and let's read it out. This was from the Oxford vaccine trial. The manufacture of vaccines and clinical trials are regulated and subject to approval by the government body called the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the MHRA. The MHRA have strict standards for manufacturing vaccines and subsequent testing to ensure safety. Due to the urgent need for a vaccine against COVID-19, with agreement from the MHRA, some of the tests usually required for a newly manufactured vaccine have been modified in order to make the vaccine available more quickly for assessment in its clinical trial. So essentially, it's been changed, and obviously, and again, what's not common knowledge, which I probably pointed out in tweets to them as well, is that the vaccine has indemnity. In other words, if one is harmed by the vaccine, you cannot sue the pharmaceutical company. And I also pointed out that the MHRA were expecting a high volume of adverse reactions, and they had to develop a new AI system to deal with this high volume, because they were expecting a high volume of adverse reactions. And if you go on the MHRA website, this is indeed the case. There are thousands and thousands of adverse reactions, miscarriages, blood clots, etc., deaths. It's all there in black and white. These are just facts. And the fact is, to reiterate, that the vaccine has not got a license. It's only been put out there to the public and an emergency legislation. So I tweeted to them. This is one of the tweets that I sent to the NHS UK on the 3rd of January 2021. The vaccine has been rushed despite protests to the contrary. Matt Hancock misled Parliament on this issue. The vaccine has an indemnity, and if it's safe, why has it got indemnity? And the MHRA are expecting a high volume of adverse reactions. Fact check me. And they blocked me. You know, so, and I pointed out in a couple other tweets to them that this is this disinformation. You have to be upfront with the public that the MHRA altered the process for this drug to be put out in an emergency legislation and to be and the research to be done in double quick time. I don't know how many times, but it takes 5-10 years to develop a vaccine, a few months to develop this vaccine, and subsequently blocked. And this is quite incredible to be blocked by such a prominent social media account just for pointing facts out. I mean, these are just facts. I don't know why they're, well, one knows why they're shy. One knows why they're shy of this information, because it would stop the uptake. It makes you wonder why they're so desperate to not really make this information known to the public, because it involves the idea of informed consent. So the public are not fully informed if this information is not fully disseminated. I mean, they've spent £184 million, the government, on advertising for COVID-19 and restrictions and safety messages, but they never included this information, which is very odd. So we're in a situation now where big tech's censoring things, and big organisations and government are blocking people. You know, I've been blocked by Nicola Sturgeon on Twitter. I've been blocked by Debbie Schroeder on Twitter for pointing out aspects of the PSYOP, psychological operations, the unethical use of applied psychology on the population by frightening them, by making people shame each other, which is totally unethical and against the ethical and practical guidelines of the British Psychological Society, and not in the interest of public health. These measures have contributed to ill health, mental ill health of the population, and these people like Nicola Sturgeon, Debbie Schroeder, the NHS, they are aware of this. It's out of order. So I just wanted to put some links into these tweets and show you what I put to them. But it makes you think, if they block you for sending them facts, we're in dire straits. And it's interesting, and a couple other tweets related to this. I pointed out that Mariana Spring, she's supposedly the expert in disinformation for the BBC, and she did some documentary about this. Strange how she missed this disinformation by the NHS UK social Twitter account. Very interesting. I would have thought she'd been astute enough to pick up on that, but obviously not. Or astute enough to pick up on the fact that Matt Hancock misled Parliament when asked by the MP from Basildon or somewhere, I think it was. The transcript's available on the UK government website, but he asked Matt Hancock had the vaccine went through the same procedure as all other medicines, and Matt Hancock assured them it had. Hasn't. So that's where we are. That's where we are. So I've been reading this book by The Power of the Powerless by Václav Havel, and it was written in 1978. And this it's very pertinent to our times. This short book. I encourage people to read it. Written in 1978, Václav Havel's Meditation on Political Dissent, the rituals of its suppression and the sparks that reignite it, would prove the guiding manifesto for uniting solidarity movements across the Soviet Union, a portrait of activism in the face of falsehood and intimidation. The power of the powerless remains a rousing call against the allure of apathy. I think what's in this book is pertinent to this, the falsehood that we're living in. And I'll just leave you here with a short quote from it. He writes, "The more thoroughly the post-totalitarian system frustrates any rival alternative in the level of real power, as well as any form of politics independent of the laws of its own automatism, the more definitively the centre of gravity of any potential political threat shifts to the area of the existential and the pre-political. Usually without any conscious effort, living within the truth becomes the one natural point of departure for all activities that work against the automatism of the system. And even if such activities ultimately grow beyond the area of living within the truth, which means they are transformed into various parallel structures, movements, institutions, they begin to be regarded as political activity. They bring real pressure to bear on the official structures and begin in fact to have a certain influence on the level of real power. They always carry with them the specific hallmark of their origins. Therefore it seems to me that not even the so-called distant movements can be properly understood without constantly bearing in mind the special background from which they emerge." I'll leave it there. Live not by lies. Bye for now.